Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Room for Growth podcast. If you're new here, I'm your host, Shreya Raju. Um, so it's been a really long time since I've seen you guys, and I've kind of disappeared. So I really have no excuse for disappearing so long, except school. I didn't intend to. I entered the school year thinking that I would be able to balance junior year, like all of the hard work, and also this podcast, but clearly my disorganization did not make that possible. And also, I think my lack of motivation has also stopped me from making episodes when I did have time. I finally have caught a break from all of the chaos of first semester junior year. And yeah, I'm super excited to be getting back into this. So again, if you're new to the podcast, it's held on Spotify and YouTube. There will be links in the description if you're curious and want to check it out on another platform. So, I initially wrote the script for this episode on New Year's Day when there was literally 5 hours left in 2025. And even though I've been so swarmed with work, I feel like this was the time, writing this was the time that I felt the most productive because I've actually been able to get back into something I love. So, just writing this when I had so little time left in 2025 and just I was right on the brink of flipping a new page into the new year. That just made me feel like it was the perfect time to make commitments, not just to myself, but also to the podcast. Um, so yeah, it kind of ties perfectly into the topic of today. If you didn't read the title, the topic of today is self rebranding for the new year into 2026. So, rebranding is kind of different from your typical New Year's resolutions. If you're anything like me, you probably make a list of resolutions every single year and honestly forget about them by February or March. And whenever I've looked back on my resolutions, it's kind of like, dude, I've made gigantic commitments to myself. I don't even know how I thought it would be possible to complete some of this stuff. So I feel like just at the start of the year, I make these huge expectations for myself, and then I kind of just let go of them. However, a rebrand is not just these plotting down these big, almost unrealistic resolutions down on paper. It's looking at ourselves in the past year, taking all the good and the bad, and just reflecting. And from that, we look at the bad things and we add things that can help us strengthen ourselves. It's looking at who we are, who we will be, and who we want to be, and what we are going to do to reach that. So instead of just putting down these big goals, it's creating a structure to the upcoming year so that we can actually reach them and make it more realistic. So, I don't know if you guys have seen the trend on TikTok where it's just 2026 rebrand, but it's been all over my For You page. And I've just learned it's completely just about identity. It's not just picking out a new aesthetic or style of clothing on Pinterest or creating um I don't know, a workout routine. It's creating a structured framework of what we want to work towards so that we are no longer lost. I just feel like when we surround ourselves, right at the start of the year, with plans, ambitions, even aesthetics and encouragement, it will help us throughout the year and just help stabilize us. So, as I just stated, this is the perfect time to leave our bad decisions in the past and our bad habits in the past by actually making structures to get rid of them and best ourselves. I think it's my perfect time to make a commitment to this show. Um, I think saying that I could just post monthly or regularly is an easy thing to do, but my schedule is really busy. So, that would be meaningless. I know that I'm going to be swamped with even more work next semester, but I will commit to actually making the episode creating process more simple for myself so that I can actually reach the end goal more instead of just not posting for months on end. So that is a commitment I'm making to you guys. I'm just going to do things that little things that will help me decrease editing time because in the past, maybe it's because I'm not used to it, it just takes hours. And yeah, so that should make it a lot easier to get out episodes sooner. So yay, taking steps for the future. Okay, so with that lovely intro, let's actually get into the video. So, this episode is going to be very hands on. So, if you are able to grab a journal, a piece of paper, or anything that you could write something down on, I do recommend actually pulling out a journal because it will be so nice to just have a notebook of just organizational things and just a place to put all your thoughts down. I think we need to start by taking little steps into the 2026 rebrand. So, before we actually go into what we want to change in 2026 and what we want to do, which is obviously the fun part, I feel like we should just start off by reflecting on the good and the bad of 2025. By doing this, we can actually get like a really neat overview of the year and we can see what we want to keep and throw out of our schedules, our habits, our lives. This by making an ins and out list, and I will literally show you guys what I'm going to do. So this is my journal. I've had this since 8th grade. I'm in the middle of 11th grade right now, so you can tell I don't write in it often, but I'm almost done with it. So I'm going to start on a fresh new page and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Alright, so you can see right here that I made this little list. I split the page in half. I titled one side ins and the other side outs. And I realized that could be a little confusing because I didn't really explain. But for the inside, I'm kind of writing things that happened in 25 or decisions that I made in 2025 that I really just think I should carry with me and continue in the new year. And the outs are kind of things that I really want to change about myself or just in general for this new year. So happy with where I've gotten with my own fashion sense because I feel like when it comes to fashion, that's something that just like it's such a big part of our own self-expression. So I feel like now I've like especially through the latter part of this year, I've found like the clothing style and the makeup style that actually like fits me as a person. And I've also learned how to deal with my hair. And honestly, like if you look back at pictures and stuff from like freshman year or like maybe like middle school, like some of the choices I made were like actually disgraceful and they physically hurt to look back on. So I'm really glad that 2025 I kind of figured it out. Um so yeah, that's something that I definitely want to carry in with me into 2026. And then for the out section, I wrote quite a few things down, and I'm not honestly done with the whole list, but most of them revolve around my own personal motivation. I think I stated this sometime earlier in the video, but junior year, it's been so stressful, and I feel like a lot of the stress and negativity I felt faced this year is because of like my own personal lack of motivation and disorganization. So that's something that I'd like to change this year. And another thing I wrote down is negativity. I feel like just by nature, like I can be a negative person. And I know that sounds like so ironic because I literally have this entire podcast which is like pretty much centered around positivity, but yeah, I can be a pretty negative person sometimes. So, um I think that's one thing I want to change. Just surrounding myself with more positive content and just intentionally being kinder to myself. I think that would be a great change to make in 2025. Or I mean in 2026. So yeah, I think you should also kind of like just like what I did, kind of make a reflection. It doesn't have to be like values or like simple things like I did. You can also make like maybe a list of situations that happened in 2025 or things or emotions that you want to leave um behind or carry with you or something like that. So I feel like this kind of just lets me not only see like the stuff that I really need to change, but also I get to see the stuff that I feel like proud of myself for and good about for 2025. Because I think when we're making resolutions, it's easy to just be like completely harsh on ourselves and be like, dude, I need to fix all of this. There is good stuff that have happened. And I don't know. I think this is just a really important step in organization. So now, as we're actually moving on from 2025, I feel like the next step in the rebrand is to declutter. So I feel like physically clearing our environments and phones, closets, etc., of stuff that we don't need will just help us like mentally feel like we're making space for the new year, new decisions, etc. Right before I filmed this, I cleaned my room and I'm going to just delete a bunch of apps off my phone. Um just like delete a bunch of photos, just clear things out. I guess like the bigger point of this is just like not only will you feel more organized, but like yes, it just like genuinely feels like we're making space for like the new good things. When like we're just removing the things that like we don't need and that aren't bringing us any joy. So yeah, decluttering. To me, it's kind of just saying goodbye to everything that happened in the past year. all of the stress and everything, and also like the physical, like all the dirtiness, all of the disorganization like that might be going on in your room or the place around you. And yes, just like physically making space for the good things. Okay, I think the second step is actually visualizing. This is like the most fun part of the process, when we're actually kind of like creating who we want to become in the future, creating this idea. So this is kind of like where we pull out Pinterest, where we pull out our journal, and like it's almost like making resolutions or goals. So, why I mentioned Pinterest, if you haven't seen like all the TikToks and stuff, you kind of can just like make boards on there and just like pin like little ideas for like motivation or inspiration of like literally anything, like how you want to dress, what perfume you want to wear, to like maybe like how you want to organize your studying, or like how you want to organize like your work hours. Like there's so much stuff that can be done on Pinterest. And like if you search up like even like a little word, like maybe like student or something on there, like it will just show you like a bunch of like ideas and pictures that like make I guess like studying seem fun. So for me, my visualization, as I said, means making a new Pinterest board with just like maybe tips for studying, like clothing ideas, hairstyle ideas. And I always love to create new playlists. I literally just made one before filming this episode for 2026, with a bunch of like fun, happy songs, because I think, yes, we need to stay positive this year. And finally, I think the last step in organization, or sorry, visualization, is journaling. So, I don't know if you guys have journals, but or if I've talked about this, but I feel like journaling is something that everybody should do. I'm like someone who like enjoys writing, but like even I, like it gets annoying like just thinking about, like at first it got so annoying thinking about journaling. And I literally told you guys like I've had the journal I have right now like for 3 years basically. So I don't do it super often. But I feel like like it doesn't have to be like organized. It doesn't have to be like, dear diary, this is what I did today, blah 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 blah. It doesn't need to be like that. I feel like journaling can just mean like making like lists, or like to-dos for yourself, or like just like putting your thoughts down when you're upset. Like it could mean anything. And I feel like just having like a notebook, like a physical notebook away from like the digital world, where you can just put down like your thoughts or ideas, or like maybe like rant about things that you're passionate about, or just like whatever you want to use it for. I feel like it is so useful. For me, like I've tried a bunch of things for journaling, but I feel like I'm someone who talks so much. Well, yes, I literally have a podcast, but I'm someone who talks so much. So I feel like just making like giving space for myself to just like make it like a messy blurb of ideas, that was like the thing that worked the best for me. Like I just wrote pages on pages of thoughts and ideas and plans. I just started like realizing like, dude, nobody's going to pick this up and read it. This is for myself. So I just started writing like fragments and like not even full sentences. And that has helped me like, I guess, find a space to like put down like all my goals and planning, and also like my emotional stuff. So I feel like if you haven't gotten a journal yet, I feel like for the step of visualization, you should look into it. I feel like it would be so nice. Okay, so now that we kind of have a baseline idea of what we want to do in the new year, I feel like it's time to actually get realistic. So I feel like we can do this by structuring things out. So we have an idea of the versions that we want to become in 2026, but what are we going to do to get to those versions of ourselves? If we only complete the three first steps of this, I feel like we're going to struggle to reach something that we really want to. And that is so depressing. So let's actually plan something out. I feel like this can just consist of like writing down in your journal or wherever the answers to some questions regarding your goals. So for something simple like fashion, if you want to buy a new wardrobe, where are you going to get the money from? What stores do you want to buy it from? And if you want to like start getting ready maybe a little bit more before school or something, what time are you going to wake up to do that, to actually like I guess look presentable, etc. And then maybe for your room, how will you commit to keeping the space around you clean and organized and amazing? I feel like for me, I need to like set up a little schedule of like, oh, I'll clean this then, or something like that. So I can just make sure that like it's always neat and organized. And then I think we can go into like more specific things here too. Like what is a workout schedule that we can balance, that you can actually balance throughout the working week? And what are like I guess, food decisions that we can make. So I think this step just consists of making genuine structures throughout the days, starting right now during break. For me, I only have a couple of days left of break and then school starts all over again. So I personally know how it goes for me when school starts, like it picks up really fast at my school. So I can start structuring out my days and scheduling out my days for how I want to make things easier. I'm going to implement what did and didn't work in 2025 from that reflection and put it into an actual plan for the new year. So, while making these structures, I want to encourage you guys to keep a few things in mind because I think with this whole rebrand thing, it's a whole trend on TikTok. It's easy to get carried away. And I feel like we should focus on like two specific things: what makes us better and what makes us happy. So, I think for what makes us better, we can just think about just being kind to ourselves, present and future. So, I think being kind to our future selves means actually making plans, doing our work when we get it, um, not procrastinating, and just like doing little things that makes the job easier for the future you. So I feel like just making the schedule in general is something that makes things easier for like the future us or like the future me, I guess, because I'm talking about myself, who has to go into school and start the whole thing over again. And then I think something that I specifically need to focus on is being kind to my present self. Because personally, I know for myself, and I know a bunch of you can probably relate, um, I know that like there will be times where like no matter how much scheduling I do, there will be times where I cannot follow that and I will mess up or I will procrastinate throughout the year. That's just how humans are. There will be times where we don't follow what we put down for ourselves. So I think this is just part of being realistic. We know how things went in the last year and what didn't work. So we're not going in blind. So I feel like we can just put up plans to deal with those days. And we can put up plans for ourselves to just like not feel bad when we're not able to keep up the whole like this new organized thing and just like give ourselves a break almost or just give ourselves a pathway to be able to snap right back into it instead of just feeling burnt out or bad about ourselves. I think when I think of things that will make us do better also, I think so much about health, and health isn't just physical health, it's just spiritual, mental, all these things. What spiritual health means to me is not only like connecting with my faith and my religion, but also like things that are just like good for our soul in general. Obviously like for me it means just like reading the Bible and like being able to go to church more, praying more as someone who's Christian. I think like a little part of this too is also like doing things like surrounding ourselves with content that is good and that is healthy and like godly as well. My friend and I, like last year, we journaled a lot in our Bible journals, and that was such a nice experience. And it was really nice to do over 2025. So I definitely want to start doing that also more consistently when I'm reading the Bible. I think even if you're not Christian and like this whole journaling thing, like even I do it like apart from my own Bible journal, it is so it is so healthy for like our like I feel like just like our souls. It's just checking in with yourself. And even if it's just like twice a week, it is so beneficial and I think you should get into it. And then obviously I want to move into mental health, taking intentional breaks and slowing down. Through the busyness of life, I feel like it's just so easy to forget about all that. But giving ourselves space is just something that is so like necessary to avoid burnout and just to avoid feeling like everything is just like crazy. I think like decluttering is a big thing for mental health as well. And it's not just like, oh, go clean your room or like things that are positive for decluttering sometimes. I think it also means like cutting down your screen time and putting away your phone. um, I know we hate to say it, but I feel like sometimes like social media or just media in general consumes us, and just taking breaks from it can be so good for us. And then obviously, I think mental health is also like giving ourselves time to spend with friends and family and taking care of ourselves. Like, and finally, I think physical health means like just editing your diet a little bit, and being realistic, going to the gym, working out, just making plans for that. And then I think for the more fun stuff, it's kind of the stuff that makes us happy. Um, I feel like so much when we're making goals, we're so harsh on ourselves. We're like, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be so productive. And we forget that we're not machines. And that's why it's so hard to just like go along with resolutions and just like actually meet them through at the end of the year. Because we don't really like think like, I need a break. I sometimes need to rest. So I think keeping in mind like when we're making schedules and stuff, just like building in time for like, I guess just like resting, doing nonsense, doing things that make us happy is so important to just our overall productivity. For me, I feel like little things that make me happy are like, showing up to school like in the morning. I like looking presentable. I like having an outfit that I actually like instead of something that I've just thrown on, and having like my makeup done and stuff. That just makes me happy. Personally, that just makes me so happy because it makes me feel more confident in myself. And I know so many people just hate dressing up. So whatever makes you feel like confident and like feel like okay with yourselves, whatever that means to you, I feel like doing that with your appearance is so important. Even if that means just like, like getting up and throwing whatever, because like that matters is like what you feel and like what makes you happy. And this is a place where I think about hobbies, things that are fun to us, and how do we balance that fun stuff with the hard work. I think this year, as I said, I want to do a lot more reading, and I feel like that will just motivate me so much to, continue with my work. Okay, so we're about to wrap up with this topic, but I'm gonna be a little bit of a mom when I say this, and I know it sounds super annoying because I am someone who loves to read in general. But if you guys are looking for something to implement in this new year for your brain and your brain's health, reading is so beneficial just for you and your brain and your neuroplasticity and everything. Even if you don't want to pick up like a big fat fantasy book and read it, I think like even like articles or like just like little things, like maybe like a page per night, so beneficial to your brain's health. So if that's something you were thinking about implementing, I think you should definitely do it. Okay, as we're closing out, I just want to remind everybody as we have these big aspirations for ourselves and we're just ready to lock in, please be kind to yourself. This is a huge leap, like making a structure for yourself, making goals for yourself, and you should be proud of yourself for making it this far throughout whatever you did right or wrong in 2025. There will be times, as I said, where we're not capable of following up with this routine that we have for ourselves or this rebrand. There's going to be hard days. There's going to be days that we fall back into the habits that we're trying to cut out, and that is okay. We're human, and that's how it works. But just I feel like when we make just like room for ourselves and space for ourselves to mess up, that's when we're capable of being like, okay, this doesn't define me. I'm going to move on. And that's what's really healthy. Don't let like your mistakes define you, and don't let your bad days define you either. Don't make this whole like structure so strict that it feels like you cannot keep up with it either. The main thing about this rebrand is that we're just being realistic and creating this just beautiful structure for ourselves, just that gives us room to mess up and room to get better and just forget about the bad things and just grow. It also gives room for the stuff that we're actually excited about and passionate about, and things that can be tweaked and things that make us happy. So with that, I want to close. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to follow me alongside my journey of growing and just sharing my stories and becoming a better person this year, definitely consider subscribing and listening to this podcast more often, or even leaving a rating. I'd love to read your guys' comments. It's so nice. So if you have anything to say, please leave a comment. Anyways, thank you guys so much for sticking around and listening to this video this long if you have. I'm so grateful and thankful. Okay, I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.